Hello. In discourse analysis, we work with words. Words are very important and they're very powerful. Let me share with you some of the sayings I found on the internet about the power of words. Definitely, we need to be mindful when it comes to words because they can inspire but also destroy. So we need to choose our words very well. Some of the sayings I found: be careful with your words. Once they're said, they can be only forgiven, not forgotten. Another one kind word can change someone's entire day. Another, handle them carefully, for words have more power than atom bombs. Wow. And last but not least, don't ever diminish the power of words. Words move hearts, and hearts move limbs. So what is discourse analysis? Deborah Tannen very beautifully said, discourse analysis is sometimes defined as the analysis of language beyond the sentence. This is a very powerful statement. And please go to this website to learn more about the importance of words, the importance of discourse analysis. In the following slides, we will understand what it's meant by beyond the sentence. Discourse is text, as we know. Text that is written or spoken. So how do we analyze discourse? When we have the text, whether spoken or written, we look and observe the purposes of using certain language. Is it to persuade? Is it to inform? There are certain ways, certain structures, certain organization. So we look and observe and notice the purposes that the language is used for. We also analyze it in terms of who the audience is, who are, let's say, participants of a given conversation. Who's the audience receiving a certain speech or audience reading a certain article? We also look at the type of the discourse, whether written or spoken, and even genre of the discourse: narrative, informative, article, blog, tweet. We analyze it from the perspective of its message and content of the message. How is the language used to relay a certain message and a certain tone? And we also analyze it to know the intent and the purpose of the message. All these things are expressed through language. They're expressed through words, phrases, sentences, paragraphs, articles. And it's not only language in terms of linguistics. We'll find that there are other factors outside linguistics interacting with linguistics, and that's what makes discourse analysis beyond the sentence level. So we analyze Linguistically, we analyze the discourse linguistically. What we do when we analyze it linguistically, we look at the parts of speech. We look at nouns, verbs, adjectives, adverbs. We look at words that are field specific or general. That means words that are related to a certain field. Let's say if the article is about medicine, so is it about medicine? Is there any jargon, let's say, related to medicine, or it's general? We look at lexical collocations. There are certain lexical collocations are two words that come together. Hearts and minds, for instance, they always come together. These are sometimes field specific and sometimes general. So we look at these lexical collocations. We look at metaphors. And in, I guess, week 3, we will talk about metaphors. How do we analyze it linguistically? Also through checking the structure. We look at compound structures and complex structures. They tell a lot because the compound structures convey a certain intent, and complex subordinate structures give different meanings depending on the nature of the clause, whether it's adjectival or adverbial or clause of results and so on. Don't worry, we will delve into this more. The organization of the discourse, how old versus new material is organized. And when we are analyzing it linguistically, there are some questions that we may consider. We ask ourselves, does the speaker use rules of grammar or conventions agreed upon in his or speaking community? This is linguistic and also sociolinguistic because it's related with how the speaker wants to be identified. Does he want to be identified with his speaking community as a participant or as a person of a given speaking community? Or does he or she, of course, want to be identified as different, belonging to a different speech community? Are all these conventions the same in all languages, or the same in dialects and accents of a given language? So the conventions that are agreed upon within a language of a speaking community, are they generalized across the board, or they're specific to certain communities, speaking communities, other than others? Now, voice, what kind of voice is used? Is it passive voice? Is it active voice? And if the voice that is used, whether active or passive, is it appropriate with the message, intent, purpose? Phrasing the sentence, does the phrasing the sentences a certain way bear upon ideological agendas, explicitly or unconsciously? So here we are delving into politics, ideology, into another field of critical discourse analysis. We can also analyze it from a sociolinguistic point of view. The concept of indexicality, which we will touch upon very soon, is the use of certain language to mark affiliation to a certain group. We look into the discourse and see if there is a certain language used and repeatedly used? Is there use of certain dialect or accent and its peculiar linguistic and grammatical features to mark affiliation to a certain social group? So language in the first one, words, jargon. In the second one, it could be a way of pronouncing. Certain speaking communities or people like to pronounce certain words differently. Let's take, for instance, the English language. It's actually pronounced differently in the United States, different than in England, different than in Australia and in the Commonwealth. So in South Africa, and even in all these countries, there are accents, different accents, southern accents, northern accents, western accents, and eastern accents, and so on. And this does not apply to English only, it applies to all languages. So some people would like to stick to a certain pronunciation just to mark their affiliation to a certain group and be easily identified as belonging to that speaking group. There is also analysis from critical discourse perspective. Here we have components as word knowledge, prior experience. Is it there? Can you discern it from the discourse when you read the discourse or hear the speech? Can you discern some word knowledge, context, or backdrop of a certain period, certain event? There are also ideologies and politics. Can you infer a certain ideology? We can, of course, when we read political texts, we can know the author belongs to which party, let's say. And also languages of propaganda and censorship. And here there is this outside external resource, a YouTube, about how we blend the truth. It's a very interesting video that I strongly recommend that you have a look at it and watch it in its entirety to understand how censorship, spinning, propaganda, and all those things can be discerned and can be observed in any given discourse. So some of the things that we can find about in critical discourse analysis, the difference between fake and fact, fake news and facts, or facts versus fake news, propaganda, censorship, manipulating information versus banning it, spinning, which we know that you take something negative and spin it in a positive way. And then we also have discourse analysis from a conversational point of view, and which is for implicature. We'll get to this soon. And in critical discourse analysis, we can see the combination between principles of conversational analysis intertwined with principles of critical discourse analysis. And we can observe, analyze the discourse for false implicatures. This is based on Grice's maxims. And the ones that I have here, there are 4 of them. The ones that I have here that are related to critical discourse analysis, maxim of quality, for the sake of having a cooperative conversation, telling the truth is essential. And the maxim of quantity, you need to give the information that you need, but not more. So these two maxims are very important in articles, and most probably in all kind of articles, informative as well as persuasive. So this is the PowerPoint I presented and prepared for you now. Sums more or less what discourse analysis is. I hope you enjoyed it, and I look forward to your questions if you have any. Bye-bye now, just for now, and I'll meet you again very soon.